So we're going to start off this list strong with Cyber Rebellion. Now, even though Cyber Rebellion is new to the Play Store, it's definitely starting off strong, getting a lot of new players, and it is very fun to play. If you like space or cyberpunk themes, then this game is definitely going to tickle your fancy, or even if you're not a fan of that, then there's still a lot of value in the game. First of all, if you were playing Eternal Evolution, then it's time to put that one down because this is its new successor. There's so many more functions, the character design is just way better, it's not as convoluted with the building, but you still have like character builds that revolve on your desired stats. Like if you want to put on equipment with crit rate, you can do that. If you want to put on equipment with defense percent, you can do that. I definitely see Cyber Rebellion being a staple in the future, but for now it hasn't quite gotten off of the proving grounds yet, so I'll just leave it at an A tier. Next is going to be Legend of Fighters Dual Star. Now this is another one that's sort of flying under the radar. Not a lot of people are aware of this game, but it is also pretty good. It's a knockoff of Street Fighter, but it actually plays on that vibe really well. They also have a lot of original characters as opposed to the parodies, and their original character designs are pretty damn good. In terms of generosity, the developers are some of the most giving. You can get any character in the game as free to play. I didn't spend a dime, and I literally completed the entire roster, even of the rare LD characters. It's got the tower to grind in the campaign. You're probably going to be familiar with a lot of the gameplay in this game, but there's also going to be some aspects of gameplay that take you by surprise. It's sort of that they shoved an entire other game into it as well. If you go into the war zone, you have Ebony Online, just a completely different RTS game available for you to play. So it's like 2 games in 1. I like their take on PvP, where in the arena, instead of doing team versus team, you do 1v1, v1, v1. You send the same character over and over, and it's sort of like a knockout round. It plays into the Street Fighter vibe really well, and I think it's quite the endearing game. So go ahead and check that one out if you're interested, and I think I will place it at a solid B tier. Next up is Omni Heroes, and I don't think anybody was really surprised to see it on the list, but if you want to work your brain with min-maxing and character development, then this is the way to go. For theory crafting and team building, you have limitless options. You're never going to run out of options or characters to build. If you are a one and done type of gamer, this is the game that will last you forever, and it's going to be in the S tier. Aside from the massive amounts of faction bonuses and team synergies that are available, there's also other games just packed into it as well. Like you have this gacha waifu system that a lot of people are really into. I understand if it's not really your cup of tea, but it's there, and it's cool for games to have other games inside of them. This plays back into the thing with Dual Stars about having 2 games in 1. That's really good, especially for an idle game, because we're all going to hit the walls, we're going to be stuck for a couple days until we progress, and it's super nice to have an extra area in the game to explore for whenever you come up upon those walls. Undoubtedly, Omni Heroes is the S tier of the year. This is a really good game, and I definitely recommend you try it. Next is Mad Tale Idle RPG, and if you're a fan of those creepy fairy tale aesthetics, then this game is probably for you. All your favorite fairy tale characters are here: Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Snow White, and it's just packed into a very cute gacha game. The strongest part of Mad Tale is 100% the secret system. If you're familiar with the rune system from Summoner's War, it's like you have a 1 through 6 slot of gear that you get to slot in that has main stats and substats, and it really does a lot for the character customization and team building for the game. They also have fun mini games, so if you're trying to do random mini games throughout the day, like maybe whenever you're pooping on the toilet, you want to throw some darts at a dartboard or something like that, they will likely have something like that going on in an event or just within the daily things you're supposed to do. Despite all of that, the game still somehow becomes boring around month 2. Their Discord is practically dead. The developers seem to have abandoned it, but hopefully if they come back and start working on it again, it could go back up to an A. But right now it's at a C, dropping down to a D soon. Next up, Demi Saga. Nobody's surprised to see this here. Another good idle game that has a chibi function just rolled into it. If you want to play Gacha Life Sim, there you go. If you want to play your idle game, there you go. Their character design is good, the battle is fluid, and it feels great. All around, this is just a good experience. It hasn't stood out to me as being able to stand the test of time yet, but it is a good start, so I'll put it at the B tier. Next up is Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth, and what can I say? They gave it a try. Now, I will say that the game's doing a lot better now than it was whenever I played it, because whenever I got in on it, it was completely bare bones. There was literally nothing to do after day 2 except for sweep grind for pieces to try and star up your characters. Now, since then, I will attest that they've added raids and they've added, I guess, dungeons and a lot of other stuff, and that's good, but I really wish it would have been out whenever the game first came out. Instead of rolling out group content like guild content or PvP over time, that should 100% be in the game at launch, even if it takes an extra couple months to develop. No doubt myself and thousands of other people uninstalled the game after a week or two just because there was nothing left to do. But one thing I do like about the team design is that you have like a leader slot where you get to put in a giant character. And sort of like Summoner's War, how your leader skill has like extra attackers, stuff like that. The leaders in this game are clearly based towards their race or whatever. If you have an orc leader, then you know orcs get extra attack speed or something like that, and that's pretty cool. However, the sour start and the terrible taste in my mouth that it left, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it at the F. Next is Demi Saga. This is another idle game that came out this year, shoving in the gacha chibi simulator in the side, but you build statues in this one. I like it. Again, I reference Summoner's War a lot. You'll have to forgive me. Played the game for like 10 years. It's kind of hard not to. But if you get the arena buildings on Summoner's War, they increase your stats, right? In this game, it sort of has the same thing where you're building statues, and the more statues you build over time, the more stats you get. It's a pretty good beginner gacha game, but I think it's still going to be in the C tier. Next, Street Fighter Duel. Even though this is the main IP, somehow it didn't even quite live up to Legend of Fighters, but hey, it's an idle game, so we're going to review it. Keeping in mind, all of my reviews are based on being free to play because I'm not spending money on these games. If you're spending money on these games, you're going to have an entirely different experience than I did. But as a free to play player, this was probably one of the least fun games I've played this year, so I'll put it in the D. Tower of God, yet another game that didn't do too well in my eyes. They released it and it popped off for about a month and then it fell off because there wasn't really anything extra to do. It's just sort of your basic idle game. So once it fell off, they were like, oh no, our game flopped. What do we do? Release the next one. And they released the next Tower of God, which was different, but with the same characters, and flopped in the same amount of time. I guess what can I say? They really aren't doing too well this year, I guess. So I'll put them in the D tier. And last on the list that we played this year is Star Rail. So if you have a real rating for Star Rail, let me know. But whenever I played it, I play with controllers because the touchscreen doing this hurts, especially with my phone. Whenever I have the brightness all the way up, the graphics all the way up, I'm trying to record at the same time, my phone gets hot, like it will literally burn my whole finger off and it'll stop my recording. It'll shut down in the middle of it. You literally cannot play this game without a controller, and it doesn't have controller support. So I'm not just going to sit there and turn the graphics all the way low, turn my brightness all the way down just so I could play the game. If they optimized it, it would have been good. But I'll go ahead and what do you think it should be rated? Go ahead, let me know. What do you think I should rate it? That was a good idea, but no, actually it's an F tier. And that's gonna do it for the 2023 definitive idle game tier list. If there was a game that you think should have made the list that didn't, let us know in a comment. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe and join my Discord. But other than that, y'all, that's gonna do it for me today, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.